Okay, welcome viewers. Once again, this is Kibra News Network, and we are joined in by an aspiring member of parliament by the name Gore Mohamed. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Asante sana.
So mheshimiwa, why did you venture into politics?
I did venture into politics because there was a time that we had lack of leadership in Kibra, and it was during the Moi era, whereby you find that during those times when it comes to electioneering time, Kibra used to have a lot of violence. Tribes used to be incited against each tribe. And by that time I was serving the civil service as an agriculture officer. And wherever I go, people could ask me that you are a Nubian and you come from Kibra, why do people fight? And when we analyze, we find that there is no reason for people to fight, because after the election, people still come and live together, although they still live in fear. And we found that those incitements were coming from the government machinery, because Raila was, Honorable Raila was in the opposition. And I did come back and mobilize the youths, and we said that we had to put a stop into this violence, because it did affect our people. It did affect the old people. It did affect the mothers and the children, and there are old men also in Kibra here who cannot run. So you find during this violence, it is this age group are the ones who are most vulnerable. And after the elections, you find that there is no gains. And especially my community, the Nubians, we've been losing out throughout. So I told them that we need to forge forward, and there is a future if people come together. So I've been agitating for the unity and the peace, and that's when I went to compete as the chairman for LDP in Makina Ward, and I did win by landslide. And during that time also, in the branch level, I was elected as the Secretary General for LDP, which was a milestone. So as a Secretary General, this means that I was the one in charge of day-to-day of the activities of the party, and it brought together all the tribes. So I do go around, I tell those people who will try to incite our people in Kibra, we will take stern actions against them. And with time, those temperatures went down. And as we went to successive elections, that is from LDP, we went for a merger with KANU. And I still retained my seat as the Secretary General. Then after that, we went to election as NAC. I still retained my seat. And now we move forward into ODM movement, and I still retain my seat during successive elections. And until now, I'm still the Secretary General in the whole of Langata. This means I've got a lot of network around. I do communicate. In case anything arises, people do consult, and I give way forward in consultation with our area MP, who is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. And during the last election, I vied for the Makina civic seat, and I was elected as the area councillor, because I knew that with peace we can achieve development in Kibra. And we know that there is some emotive issues, like issues of land, issues of rent, and those are the issues which I know that it's only us people of Kibra who can resolve them, because we have the mechanisms. We were born here, we grew here, and through my leadership, I do take interest of everybody on board. I accommodate everybody, regardless of tribe or religion, because we are all one, and we grew together in Kibra. So Kibra is a family. It is one family, because if anything happens to your neighbor, the first person to help is your neighbor. So we've been living together, and you can see Kibra is a slum. And if you go around the slum, you find that we live very close to each other. Even when you are having conversation in your room, the next neighbor will hear whatever you are saying. So this means we are one family, we are a big family, and I felt that since my entry into politics, now there is this, we are in the takeoff stage, and I know that this coming election, our area MP is going to State House, and I'm the most suitable candidate now to vie for the parliamentary seat, because I've got the will and the ability to pull people together and to enhance development into Kibra. Because I live in Lindi ward, although I'm a councillor in Makina ward, but if you look at Makina ward for the last 5 years now, you can see there is some tangible development, especially in the road networks, the drainages. We improved the schools, and we've assisted the youths, because we know there is a lack of employment, and we've got so many youths who idle around, and the youths are the most source of crime.
Okay, if I cut you short.
Yes.
May you please tell us your educational background before proceeding?
My educational background, I was born in 1965, and I went to nursery school at Makina Center. There was a nursery school there, which was later moved to Karanja Road. From there, I proceeded to Kibra Primary School from class 1 up to 7, where I did my KCP. Then I went to Kisi High School, where I completed my Form 4. Then from there I went to Kenya Polytechnic, where I was trained as an agricultural mechanic. After graduating as an agricultural mechanic, then I got another scholarship to go and do general agriculture, because I felt if I combine both, because my background, my grandfather was a farmer in Moroni, and he used to tell me that that is the only way to go. You have to be a farmer, and I took interest into farming. So I thought if I combine those educational background, then I'll get a mileage in my investments. Luckily enough, after my graduation from Embu Institute of Agriculture, I was employed as an assistant agriculture officer, whereby I served in Kiambu, in Githunguri sub-location. I served there for 6 years, until when we had the Saba Saba. And during Saba Saba, that's when I really felt that I had to come back home, because the community which I served for 6 years, and I encouraged them, and I did invest, and they did at least the standard of agriculture in Githunguri went up, and the farmers did reap a lot during bonuses during my time. But I was saddened during Saba Saba. They turned against me because they were calling me Aluo, Mjaluo, and they thought they took me to be a traitor. And especially the youths who I used to mingle with a lot, especially in the evening. I started a football club there. I used to give them balls. I used to go with them games in the local areas, even in the interior. But to my surprise, most people thought that I was a traitor and I was spying on them. Then from there I transferred to Kari Thika. That's when I worked again for another 10 years as a sericulture officer. That is the production of silk. Then I proceeded to India, where I did my diploma. Then I came back, and I continued working with the government. That's when I ventured fully into politics. Yes.
Interesting. Now that you've been...
And just to mention that during my background, when I started as assistant agriculture officer, this means that I was a front runner extension officer. This means I was dealing with the grassroots. I was dealing with the farmers. I was doing the mobilization. So I'm the one who was teaching them on day to day, from morning to evening. So I was always in the field. So I also love this game, because in politics I was also right into the people.
Okay, now that you've been a councillor for a while, and now you're seeking the MP seat, what do you think will be your mandate as compared to that of a councillor? Because these are like you're seeking a promotion.
Unlike being a councillor, whereby I concentrated only in one ward in bringing development, I was constrained to look for resources for development only for Makina ward, while actually I live in Liddywood. So you see, like I did seek for funding for construction of roads in Makina, whereby you see most of the roads at least I've worked on, even the footpaths. But past the bridge to where I live, the roads is in very bad condition. So people do ask me, why don't the road come down to our place? So by seeking the parliamentary seat, I know now I'll venture into development in the whole of Kibra. And also, having grown into Kibra, I knew how Kibra was, because during my teenage area, we used to have a very beautiful football pitch at Joseph Kangede, that is Calix. And we used to have even international matches being played there, and it used to preoccupy us also, even especially the youths. It used to give them direction and motivation. So most of the youths used to venture into sports. And during those days also we had the Nairobi Dam, which was very clean. There was sports in Nairobi Dam. People used to go and wash there. People used to bathe. People used to go fishing. So it was also an area which used to bring people together. And in Kibera also we used to have roads which used to meander through the villages. So there was access to every area, unlike now where we have only one road from Makina to High Rise. So when we have calamities like fire, outbreak, or when we have deaths, when we have deaths in the villages, it's very hard even to move the body through the shanties. So there is need for development. And developing Kibra needs somebody who actually understands Kibra and can bring people together.
Yeah, that's true. And so what would be your number one priority?
My number one priority in Kibra is infrastructure, because with infrastructure then other developments will come into place. And secondly, because we did a strategic paper with the our area MP, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, we had an overall strategic paper of how to develop Kibra. Okay. And as leaders, we had several meetings to develop that paper. So it is a strategic paper which is being owned by all the communities, and we have agreed. So my major role is actually to finish Honorable Raila's legacy, which he had planned for Kibra, which we all accept.
And now that you're planning to fit into his seat, what do you think is done that you can say he did perfectly, and where do you think he failed in a way?
Actually, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, our MP, and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya did a lot in Kibra, because since his entry into politics in Kibra, actually, we, especially the Nubian community, we felt that we are safe, because most of the lands now were safe. Since he came in, no land has been grabbed, or no land has been alienated without consultation or us sitting down and agreeing. That is one major milestone, and which has really pulled all the communities together, because we know at the end of the day there is light in regarding to the most sensitive and emotional issue of land. And secondly, the peace that he has invested in Kibra, the peace that have brought all the communities together, because Kibra is the face of Kenya. Everybody lives here in Kibra. That is very important. And this is what rolls out all over the country, because whenever we in Kibra we speak, at least the voice is heard in every corner of the country, because everybody is represented in Kibra.
Yeah, it's true.
And also looking at the contrast that he was a parliamentary representative of Kibra, including Langata. You see there's this contrast, because this side of Langata, those influent people who are very rich, but the contrast of people who are living in Kibra, those who are living below $1 per day. So you can see the challenges also that he met during his tenure as the area MP. So balancing those scenarios also for any other person is not easy. So he had his own unique way to deal with all the aspects regarding these areas. If you go to South Sea, Nairobi West, that is a middle class area. So you find that actually Honorable Raila, we are proud of him, and that's why he's pulling the whole country together.
Okay, if I got you right, you mean bringing the people of Kibra to a level
Yes.
that you might say it's in the middle class. That has been a challenge to the Prime Minister.
It has been a challenge to the Prime Minister because the issues in Kibra, even you couldn't achieve any tangible development because there was the issue of land.
Okay, right. Is that
This
issue now? When you get to
land.
that seat,
Yes.
what do you think you'll do which you feel it will be better than what Raila met as a challenge?
Not actually what he met as a challenge, and he has already resolved. Mine is just to implement, because it has come out very clearly. There is a piece of land which has been set aside for the Nubians, and there is land which has been set aside for upgrading, whereby those people who have come to Kibra from time to time also will benefit. So it is a win-win situation. Nobody will be thrown out. And for the Nubian side, their claims was over 4,000 acres. But the scenario in Kibra now, it's not easy to achieve that because of the given development which has come in from time to time, and the people who have come in also into Kibra. But given now that that's the Committee of Truth and Reconciliation Committee, through that committee also we have aired the Nubian grievances, and we know that Nubians will be compensated for the loss that they had over these times since they came here. So there is this balance now we have to take off. And also in Kibra now, even if you want to put a hospital, it's not easy because there is no land. This is a government land. Nobody has a title. But I know now we are going to get a title deed, and there is a master plan for Kibra, so development will come in, and it's a win-win situation. Nobody will be thrown out. We say when development comes in, we don't want to see somebody going down the drain. We want to see people going up. And if you look at the scenario in Kenya, we had the post-election violence, we had the IDPs, and the government is trying to find them land everywhere. So I don't see why people in Kibra also we can't find land anywhere to settle those who will not be accommodated here. And given that the presidency we will be the first constituency in the republic. So my tall order is to see how our people in Kibra will benefit over this long time of struggle.
Okay, right. I've seen you've brought out how you've really tried to fight for the Nubians. And if I may ask you, do you think it's easy to end tribalism in Kenya?
Tribalism in Kenya, I know with time it will fizzle out because it's mainly embedded in the old generation. But if you look at the young generation now, the youths of today, they don't border any tribal line because most of them even they share rooms here in Kibera. Most of the time they spend together, and if one of them passes away, you find that even there are some Luo guys who are going to who the Nubian youths are the ones who go to bury in their rural homes because they are not known. Yeah, they were born here, they were bred here. So that infusion, people have really come together, and the intermarriages which have been here over time. So this issue of tribalism in Kibera, I know it's going to fizzle out with given time because it is only embedded in the old generation. And I think now the youths are the majority. And in the Republic, I know these sentiments of tribalism is usually played out during election only. After election, it fizzles out. And also it's because of how the resources have been shared over a given time since we attained independence. I think this was the bone of contentions because people felt that there are some tribes which have benefited more than other tribes. And surely if you look even at the Nubian community, our youths could not even be employed in the military forces or the police, which we felt that it was a domain that every youth has a right to be employed, until when the Prime Minister came into office over the last 5 years. That's when
we fought for the World War and then settled it.
So there was some, I don't know, reservation. But since the Prime Minister came into the half cake we've been sharing for the last 5 years, we find that almost over 60 youths from the Nubian community are now in the forces, which is a very big achievement. And now that we have achieved the constitution also is a very big mileage because all our rights is embedded. And given that commission whereby they say that in every job opportunity, all faces of Kenya has to be represented in that employment, given that they have the requirements. So as a community, I know that we've come off that edge of being marginalized.
Okay, before we go for a break, what do you take what do you think is the current political situation in the country?
The current political situation in the country is that people are fed up with impunity. And we came a long way to liberate ourselves since the second liberation, which was started by Honorable Raila Odinga, kina Orengo, kina Martin Shikuku, kina Matiba. You know, during those days it was not easy, but they took courage and they came out to see that we pull out of that impunity. So it has been a struggle. And we are proud now that they've pulled out, although most of them, you know, have passed away, so they won't see the fruits that they really fought for. But it is something which will live on for generations and generations. And you find that Raila has been soldiering on. Until now, he's still soldiering on, because now we have got the new constitution. But the biggest task we have now is the implementation, to actualize it. That's why we need leaders who can really work to actualize the constitution, so that our people down there can really enjoy the fruits of the second liberation. And I'm part of that struggle.
And do you think this time around the elections will be free and fair?
This time around we have learned from our past, and we saw what happened in the last election. And we don't want to go back. And we've been encouraging our people that this time around we'll have a free and fair election. And we want everybody to come out and vote, because if you stay back, then you'll put in bad leadership. People have to come out and elect the right leadership that can push our agenda forward. So this time round, you see, like we have the code. In code, you find that all people are in code. It's not a tribal fitting, it's in code. But you find the other Jubilee, they are agitating for blocks. That is the Rift Valley and the Central. I think these are people who are still wayward, but Kenya is moving forward. And if you look at their background, you know where they're coming from. So Kenyans are now matured. Kenyans are people who are aware of what is happening. There are people who understand where we came from. So I can see our country is going to take off, and we are going to put in the right leadership. Yes.
So thank you so much, Nshimio. This is the time now we need to take a break. And when you come back, I would like to get your opinion on what you think about the current zonings and the joint nominations. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are joined by Gore Mohamed, who is an aspiring member of parliament, and now we're taking a break, but you stay there. So do you think you have the capacity to finance your campaigns?
I have the capacity to finance my campaign, because the major resource is the people, and I have the people on my side. I think that is what I'm proud of. But when you look on monetary basis, I don't have that money. But I'm soldiering on, and I appreciate the little donations I get from my friends who really see what I'm doing and they know what I'm up to. But now we have only 5 days to nominations. I do urge those people who feel that they really feel for the people of Kibra, let them come on board in either way, financially or in person, so that we move along.
So what is your promise for the people?
My promise for the people is that this is the time that we really want to change Kibra. We want Kibra to move to the next level, while we are maintaining the vibrancy in Kibra and the good life that we have here. Because in Kibra there is life, unlike other estates. You find in Kibra we know each other. When you wake up in the morning, you say hi to your neighbor, and that is the way to go.
So what is your message of peace to the nation? I mean the whole country. You can just face this camera and deliver your message.
My message to Kibra and the whole country is that we need to move on. We need to maintain peace. And with peace and unity, that's when we'll achieve development. And we appreciate the development that we have during this short stint of the coalition. But I know major developments will be achieved in the next dispensation of God government. We need to maintain peace. We need to be our brother's keeper. And that is the way to go. Thank you.
So thank you, Mheshimiwa. So do you think you have any other final word or anything to add?
What I'd like to say, my fellow Kibrans, is that the time is now. The time is now that we need to choose the right leadership, starting from the top, because we have a MP in State House come 4th March. But you need assistance. You need people who we can work with. We need people who really are for the people of Kibra. I'm vying for the parliamentary seat. I call for you to come out on 17th to come and vote for me and to vote for the other representatives. On 17th, what we'll require is only your ID and your voter's card. We'd like you all to come out and vote on that day, because that is the decisive day to make the right decision for Kibra.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, viewers, for giving our time. That was Gore Mohamed, an aspiring member of parliament in this Kibra constituency. There's also a member, he's also a councillor in the Makina ward. If you've heard him, it's up to you to decide. Vote wisely, vote safely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.